You sit down to do your morning pages or any other journaling activity, and almost immediately you remember the 10 tasks that you have to do that day. And before you know it, you have closed the journal and walked away. Does that sound familiar? That was me too, until I decided to dig deeper and understand why I was doing this. And what I found changed everything. In this video, we are going to break down 7 journaling roadblocks and how to overcome them so you can finally stick to a consistent journaling practice. Hi, I'm Tari. Welcome to my part of YouTube, where we talk about glowing up from the inside out. If you've ever struggled to be consistent with journaling, this video is definitely going to help you. Roadblock number 1, fear. Fear always shows up when we're trying to do something different. It is a survival mechanism, an ancient part of our brain that is just trying to keep us safe. Journaling forces us to face our thoughts and deep emotions, and sometimes this can be a little uncomfortable and confronting. Tough emotions might come up, things that you have been avoiding or pushing down upon. Instead of confronting them, you might just shut the journal and walk away. For many, many months, this was me, till I decided to understand what I was scared of. And the fix really is to start softer. Maybe instead of facing all your fears in one day, it's perhaps better to journal on some lighter topics, such as a gratitude list, such as 3 wins for the day, or your weekly plans. Journal on something lighter, and as you feel more comfortable with the practice of journaling, you can start to then work on those deeper emotions. Remember, your journal is a safe space. That fear isn't real, it is just resistance. So please push through it, acknowledge the fear, but write anyway. And I promise, as you start to write months, days into it, you will be able to force those deeper emotions as well. Roadblock number 2, self-sabotage. Have you ever been on a journaling spree where you are very consistent with it for a week, 2, or even 3 weeks, and then suddenly you stop? You were doing so well, then what happened? The journal starts to collect dust. You come up with an excuse after excuse. I'm just too busy. This is not adding much value. This is too hard. My hands are tired. I can't think of any thoughts. This is self sabotage. Why? Because deep down you might not feel worthy of the peace, clarity, and creativity that journaling brings. The fix is to recognize the pattern and call it out. When you're self sabotaging, call it out and stick to your journaling practice. Even if it is writing 1 or 2 sentences, just stick with it. Keep the streak alive. Roadblock number 3, rigid routines. This is a really big one for me. Julia Cameron, in her book The Artist's Way, and a lot of other people as well, suggest to journal in the morning. And I agree, there's a lot of value in that. But not all of us have the luxury of a 3-hour morning routine. I have to report to work early, I have to look after my son, maybe go to the gym in the morning. If I'm very rigid and I say I can only journal in the morning, it doesn't really flow for me. So I had to do what works for me. And the fix to any rigidity is to make sure that whatever you're doing works for you. So for me, journaling at night makes better sense. When I've looked after all my responsibilities and I've taken a shower, I'm way calmer, and that's the time I would journal. So Monday to Friday, I do my journaling at night, and on Saturday and Sundays when I have more time and I can be relaxed, that's when I would do my morning pages. So the fix is to stop being so rigid. Do what works for you. As long as you stick to the practice, that's all that matters. Roadblock number 4, perfectionism. Oh my god, I am so guilty of this. I wanted my journal to be pretty, creative, and Instagram worthy. And I spent so much money buying journal after journal after journal because I would start and stop and start and stop. And every time I started, of course, I had to have a new journal. So I have about 20 journals which are half written or maybe not even used. And that really is a waste of time and energy. So learn from me, the fix to perfectionism is just to do it. Buy one single journal, write the date and time, and keep journaling in that till you finish it. At the end of it, you will realize what a beautiful journey you've had, and you can really look back and see all the lessons you've learned. So don't worry about perfectionism. Messy handwriting? Doesn't matter. Random thoughts? Perfect. Your journal is really for you. It is your creative space. It doesn't matter if it's messy or random. This is your safe space. So do with it what you will. Roadblock number 5, not making it a habit. We all know that initially it is hard to stick to new habits. Scientists say it takes about 66 to 90 days for something to become a habit. So we have to think about it consciously, and something that really helped me with this is habit stacking. This is a technique I learned from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. Any new habit that you want, pair it with something that you already do, and then it is much more likely that you'll stick with it. So, for me personally, I would journal straight after I've read my book. My journal is by my nightstand. As soon as I finish my book, I know I can pick my journal up and write in it straight away. And day after day after day, you keep doing it. By the end of 2 or 3 months, it will become a habit. And a bonus tip here is to maybe get a habit tracker. I love ticking things off. It gives your brain a little dopamine hit. So buy a habit tracker and put journaling as one of those habits that you'll take off at the end of the day. Roadblock number 6, and again, this is a big one as well, lack of privacy, especially for people maybe who live with their parents, who lived in shared accommodation. This can be a barrier to journaling as well. You're just scared that someone might pick up your journal and read your deepest, most vulnerable thoughts. And I can understand that. So the fix around this is to, these days you can buy journals with little logs or password protected journals. You have to make sure your journal is your safe space because you're really expressing everything that you feel. So of course it is very vulnerable and you don't want anyone to read it. For me personally, I put my journal on my nightstand, but I have a big private and confidential written on it. But if you are living in a shared accommodation or maybe you're scared someone might read it, then I would suggest to buy a lock and key one. And if that doesn't work, maybe consider a digital journal. Although I really feel pen to paper is the best way to journal, but again, we can't be rigid. We have to do what works for us. So make sure your journal is in a safe and private area. Roadblock number 7, not knowing what to write. This initially, I think it's not so much of a problem, but as you keep doing it day after day after day, slowly you've done a mind dump, everything is clear, and then you're at a loss of words. You don't know what to write anymore. If this happens, then maybe use some journal prompts such as, today I feel something I'm grateful for. My biggest challenge is, if I were to advise my younger self, this is what I would say. So, the fix really is to use some journal prompts when you think the words are not flowing out and you're not feeling very creative. But again, stick to it. Write about some advice that you would give to your younger self. That always helps. So tell me, what are your biggest journaling roadblocks and how did you overcome them? Comment below. I would love to connect with you. And if you found value in this video, you're going to love this one on morning pages. If you have any ideas for videos that you would like me to make, please comment below as well. And if you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.